before I dig into this, I want to show an experiment I'm doing. We've been selling vampire crabs for years for people in their terrariums. They're known to crawl up and live in actually the inside of carnivorous plants in swampy areas. They're really bright, different colors, bright reds, bright greens, bright purples. Again, they're called vampire crabs. They don't get large, but they don't put them in aquariums because the idea is that they don't live underwater. They need to be out and they just dip in the water. So I took a vampire crab, put him into this little tank that we built on the show 3 weeks ago. He's doing great. He's just scavenging in there. He's not hurting the other fish. They're all getting along famously. He looks terrific. Like I said, 3 weeks, he's healthy. I'd say that's good enough to say it's a successful test. So you can put vampire crabs in your small community fish tanks and you'll get a lot of good playful fun from those guys because they're also very active, much like the loaches we're about to talk about. I'm going to introduce one of my favorite groups of fish for their hardiness and playfulness in the aquarium, and that is the family of loaches. Actually, the loach classification contains 10 families and 1,038 species, but we're going to show you 6 of them. And these are very, very popular loaches that can be found in any independent aquarium store. You won't find these except maybe the Kuli loaches in PetSmart or Petco, but the rest of them you'll probably have to go to your local mom and pop store to find, or to aquariumfish.com. Now, first up, I'm starting with the most diminutive species I've got, which is the teeny tiny little panda loach. We have rosy loaches and panda loaches in our warehouse for nano tanks, and they get along with fancy shrimp. Any small species, they'll do fine and they won't harm them. They're too small to put in with cichlids. They'll probably just get eaten. They only grow to 1.5 inches. They're most beautiful from 1/2 inch to 1 inch. And they have a really bright black and white pattern, hence the name panda loach. Yawashenia is their scientific name, and there's a lot more to it, but that's their first piece of their scientific name. They are we always just call these guys by their common name though, panda loach. We import them from China, just like the panda bear. Now loaches, they're hardy, they're elongated, they're scaleless, they have barbs. That's one common characteristic that they have, but they are all different colored patterns, different sizes, different shapes, different lifespans. You know, they have basically their skeletal structure is the reason they're classified as loaches, and I'm not going to go into the morphology of the skeleton of a loach versus a algae eater catfish, but they are different, even though the bodies look the same. But you can see what a wonderful addition they are. But another reason you have to be careful with them is because they're expensive. These are typically $30 retail, and you don't get a lot for your money. They're this big, but they do live several years, and they are very active. And again, they won't hurt anything else that's small and peaceful in that tank. So I think it's perfect for a tank like I have here on my right. The only thing I would do if I put a panda loach of this size, and these are juveniles, into a tank with a crab, I'd remove the crab, find somewhere else for that guy to live. Crab could harm them in their resting state. The rest of the fish in here are fine. The small rasboras, live bearers, they're otocinclus. The medium bushy nose, I'd avoid those too. But small bushy nose, you're fine too. So anyways, these are the panda loaches. All loaches come from Northern Africa, Europe, and Asia. Most of the loaches that you see in the aquarium trade are imported from Southeast Asia. All the loaches I have on this little list are from Southeast Asia, except for I import them from Southeast Asia because they're bred there, but its origin is Europe, and that's the weather loach or dojo loach. We'll talk about that when we get to that particular loach. Let me mention these panda loaches. Don't get too excited during certain times of the year. Now is fine, summer through fall, but half the year you won't find them. They're a seasonal wild-caught fish from China. So that's the panda loach. Now, the most popular loach of them all, two most popular vying is the Kuli loach and the clown loach. Kuli loaches are nocturnal, so you'll see them a little bit active during the day. They're not active at all right now, but at night they swim all over the tank looking for food. Just amazing. If you turn on the light, you'll see them zipping all around. It'll be shocking compared to the kind of docile nature you'll see them behave with during the middle of the day. They look like they're sleeping. Once in a while they'll be active during the day. They're very pretty, and like the panda loach, you can keep them with small shrimp and other small community fish, but you can also keep them with larger species. I just keep them away from aggressive African cichlids on up, but anything else, peaceful South American cichlids, dwarf cichlids, large schooling fish, will be fine with a coolie loach. And I don't think that crab would even do them any harm, that vampire crab we've been talking about this show, because I want to push that to the trade. I think vampire crabs will be so good, besides these loaches, in people's aquariums. So anyways, this is coolie loach from Southeast Asia. It comes in a couple different varieties. There's a red one, but the red one looks like an earthworm. I don't sell those, or they just don't move very well. There's the black coolie loach. Gets a little bit bigger than this banded. It's called the banded coolie loach. It's not as pretty. It's not a dark solid gray. It's more a black. It's more like a gray color. And then you have a giant coolie loach. Now, giant coolie loach, this is Pangeo coolie. The giant coolie loach is Pangeo meyersi. It gets about 3 times the size. These guys would be considered large, and they're like that big. The giant coolie loach gets about this big. Both of them are very skinny. So that's the coolie loach. And that you can find in nearly every aquarium store in the country. They're very affordable. Probably, yeah, I would say they're the most affordable loach in the aquarium trade. You shouldn't have to pay much more than $3 for these guys. Let's see, $4. Yeah, if you want to help out the mom and pop store, don't complain if they're up to $5. But anything more than that, it's a little high. These are very, very affordable loaches. They'll live for usually 3 to 5 years, kind of lifespan of a beta, but very active throughout their lifespan. And like I said, these guys are adult size. These are pretty good size coolie loaches. Now I'm going to go to the loach that my employees dislike the most, which is called the hillstream loach. Hillstream loaches live on fast-flowing streams in Southeast Asia and Taiwan and China. Chinese hillstream loach is a whole different species of fish. We don't carry the Chinese hillstream loach here, though they all have the same profile and look. Because it likes cold weather, like 60 to 70 degrees. You put it in a tank, it gets up there towards 80 degrees, they just die. So I don't like to put those out in the aquarium trade. There's just too many failures for the hobbyists. But we do have great success with hillstream and polka dot loaches. And hillstream's probably the most sought after because it has the best pattern on its body. But they'll flatten themselves up along the glass and just eat algae. And that's what they do in nature. They flatten themselves on rocks of fast-flowing streams and eat that just budding algae that's growing on the rocks. And the reason they have that flat profile and they hold on so well is because they've evolved into inside flowing streams, so they don't get washed away while they're eating. However, when you put them in a fish tank and you try and catch them, then they get the flat profile. They hang on hard, and it's really difficult to catch them with your net. We always make the new guys catch them, and we like to watch that. Almost as fun as having them catch the first electric catfish. Okay, so this is the reticulated hillstream loach, or lineolata. Lineolata is just Latin for lined, and reticulated is another word for it. It's our most popular in the warehouse. Polka dots are also great. These things typically in the pet store, I'd say $14.99 is a fair price for these. You can get maybe lower at Aquarium Fish Sale or one of those other guys, aquariumfish.com. But it's a beautiful loach. They live about 5 years. Hardy. Again, they don't like temperatures over 80 degrees, and they can handle almost any hardness of water as well, and a really wide pH range. Now let me talk about another $14.99 loach from Southeast Asia. This is Botia striata, striated or lined, or common name, the zebra loach. They are wild caught, they're seasonal. You don't find them very often, but when they do come up, they are very hardy, very pretty. They grow max out around 4 inches. So they're one of the larger loaches I'm showing here, along with the clown loach and the dojo loaches, which max out around 12 inches. These guys max out around 4 inches. The rest of the loaches, generally in the pet trade, are smaller than that. They have a little bit of color, but the color pattern is actually the thing that really distinguishes them, and their activity. These guys are hardy and strong. They'll swim all over the tank, and when you first get them, cover the tank with something, cardboard, whatever. Once they settle down, they're not known as fish jumpers, but when you, all loaches, even though they look, some of them look like eels, like the coolie loach, they're fish. But when these fish settle down, they won't jump out of your tank. But the first 48 hours, when you have zebra loaches or loaches that look in this size and shape, the yo-yo loach is another one, pandagaras, anything that looks like that, it's gonna be very active, swim like this, and might get out of your tank, and then you lost your fish. So just keep it covered for the first 48 hours. Here we have the zebra loach, and these guys are so easy to feed. You can put any kind of dropping pellets if you want to feed them directly, like for instance sinking cichlid pellets, but they're also terrific scavengers. If they're really hungry, they'll swim up and grab some of the floating food at the top of the tank. We have another loach in the Botia family. The zebra loaches were in the Botia family. Loaches in the Botia family tend to have kind of a oval body instead of a long eel-like body, and then they have unique color patterns. The yo-yo loach has a colored pattern like a bunch of wise. Lohashata, Lohashata is the scientific name, but the wise in it gives it its common name because it's like a yo-yo, Y. Could be called YYY loach, but yo-yo sounds, more fly, I guess, or something.
Kind of looks like there's an O in it too.
Do you see an O?
Yeah,
I don't. The producer sees an O.
Look in the inside of the Y's. It makes an O with a dot in the middle.
Okay, he actually sees an O, so yo-yo. Okay, we'll go with that. So the yo-yo loach is called the yo-yo loach because it has a Y like this and a small circle-like, between the Y's, circle-like symbol, so it looks like a yo-yo as you go along the body of the yo-yo loach. They get about 3 inches in length, 3 to 4 inches, similar to the zebra loach. They're not quite as active jumpers, but they move all over the tank. In general, any loach should be purchased in a small pack, at least 2 or 3 of them. They school in nature. They always hang on the bottom. They're called benthic if you want to be more scientific, but these are benthic fish. They can swim up to the top and swim all around the aquarium, but 90% of their life is right on the bottom of that tank or bottom of the river, bottom of the pond. These guys, for that reason, they're also terrific scavengers for the bottom of the fish tank. I think the one exception, is the hillstream loaches. They tend to just, wherever they have a good surface, and it tends, in the aquarium, the sides have the most surface space. That's where most of the time you'll see the hillstream loaches. The rest of them, most of the time you'll see them on the bottom. Yo-yo loaches come from Southeast Asia, very affordable. Those of you guys are usually under $10 in the aquarium pet stores. You won't see these in the chain stores, but you will see them in good aquarium stores. They're easy to get. They're wild caught, but they are very common, really available the whole season. Chromobotia, or Macarantha, is commonly known as the clown loach. The clown loach usually comes in anywhere from 1 inch to 3 inches for the aquarium trade. It is illegal now, as of about 6 years ago, to import clown loaches larger than 4.5 inches. And the reason for that is because they want to keep the breeding stock viable in Southeast Asia. So the way this trade works is there's a few master distributors of clown loaches, and they gather all the babies at the end of the rainy season. They put them into their tanks and they grow them for the following year. If there's a bad year, you won't see it in the aquarium trade that year, but you'll see a shortage of clown loaches the following year. And that happened during the COVID period. There was a drought in Southeast Asia. Very few were harvested that one particular year, and the following year we all suffered for it. And it keeps going because these clown loaches are really slow growers. That's why a 1-inch clown loach costs only 1/4 the amount of something twice that size, because the clown loaches only grow like 1 inch a year. So if you get a clown loach that's 12 inches, their max size, that thing takes it 12 years to get there. They don't start breeding until they're big. So you can really wipe out the population if you allow the fishermen to harvest the big clown loaches and sell them to the aquarium trade for a pretty penny. So it's not allowed. The aquarium trade does a very good job of regulating fish in certain regions. Clown loaches, fortunately, are very well regulated. Africa is one of the exceptions, unfortunately. But fortunately, most African species that you see in the aquarium trade are bred in captivity. In the trade, you would call these small. They're an inch and a half from nose to tail. I sell these anywhere from an inch to 3.5 inches. 3.5 inches we would call, 3 to 3.5 inches we would call large. But of course they're still juveniles. They're really going to max out at 12 inches, but it'll take them forever to get there. These can live a couple decades in your aquarium. They're really a beautiful, beautiful fish. Bright orange and black, yeah, and they just get prettier as they get older. Well, this was a great show for loaches. Not a perfect one because there's a couple loaches I'd like to show that are coming into the warehouse Sunday night. So for our next episode, I'm going to throw those two in there and talk about them, but they are the weather loach or dojo loach and the horseface loach. Between the two of them, the horseface loach is a safer loach for your aquarium. It doesn't grow very large, it's a little more peaceful. Dojo loaches, I'm just giving you kind of the top line on these guys. Dojo loaches get a good 14 inches. They're kind of pigs when it comes to food. But they are cool because they're barometers. They can actually predict weather. They were introduced in the St. Louis World Fair as a barometer and sold as barometers, household barometers, a little weather loach and a little tube that you just, with a little food with it, and you kept it on your little mantelpiece, and if it started to shake and act crazy, you knew a storm was coming. I don't know how, well, I know it wasn't successful because they're not around anymore. That was a real product that was introduced at the World Trade or the World Fair, and so anyways, that's a little story about the weather or dojo loach. But it is illegal in states that have a lot of lakes. They're not allowed. They're illegal there. It's because they're considered invasive. Well, that's it. That's loaches. You'll find other lists of loaches on the internet. Hopefully I introduced you to some information about the loaches and a little more clarification on the types of loaches you can find in the store that you won't see at the other on the YouTube shows. Hope we did something good for the trade. If you think we did something good for the trade, please let us know in the comments. If you like any of these loaches, go ahead and look at aquariumfish.com, and most of them will be available on the site, or go to your local aquarium store. Don't bother with the chain stores. If you appreciate this show, like, and I guess you push a button, like and subscribe. So please subscribe, and we got a lot more shows coming up. And if you don't have a fish tank, get an aquarium.